they're always like, down and out about their haircut.
I'm begging anybody out there, before you go and get surgery, before you walk into these hair clubs system places, I'm telling you right now, I am $20,000 in the hole, and 10 years of stress, the last 3, an absolutely horrifying existence of stress and pain. And I can promise you, the stress of this hairpiece is 1,000 times more than I would have ever felt if I had just been confident with who I am, dealt with the fact that these are the cards I've been dealt, and deal with them, and just shave my head. And honestly, like Spencer said, not everyone's there, but that's where I'm at.
Who put this thing together? Me! That's who! Who do I trust? Me!
And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality?
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show, 888-659-3727. Sorry for the, not really a late start. We're still kind of doing this impromptu on Friday afternoons here on the west coast of the United States. This is the Hair Loss Show. I'm Spencer Kobren, of course, on my left, if you're viewing the program. Is Joe Tillman, who is live from our studios in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm obviously in Los Angeles, California, and we are the guys who do the Hair Loss Show. The name of the program is The Bald Truth, been on the air for about 20 years. I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, author of The Bald Truth and the Truth About Women's Hair Loss, also the founder of the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, and a guy who's been dealing with hair loss for 32 years that I'm aware of.
That you're aware
yeah.
of.
And that is a long fucking time. It's older than most of you guys, I'm sure. Longer than, I would say our average. I don't know what our average demo right now is, now that we have moved more, it's 100% online. Probably, I would say, around 30, 28, 25, I don't know. Pretty young demo.
Our demo, I think, is 24 to 34.
Well, I would say that's our medium demo. Our demo is actually probably about 16 to death.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, if we were on radio, that's what I would, if advertisers would ask me what our demo was, it would be like 16 to death.
Yeah, that's good. And they'll just kind of be like, what?
Yeah. But look, we are here. We're doing this live broadcast. I'm going to give out the phone number. If you guys don't call in, we are going to go home. Well, I am home. But we're going to go and drink or do something that's going to be fun. Not that the show isn't fun, because I enjoy doing the program. But I only enjoy it if we receive phone calls. We're here to answer your questions. We're here to provide you guys with some insight into this really fucked up industry. If you are someone who's dealing with hair loss, someone who's considering doing something about their hair loss, someone who is about to have surgery, someone who's scheduled to have surgery tomorrow, well, tomorrow's Saturday, but sadly, well, not sadly, but there are clinics that will do surgery on Saturday and on Sunday.
Yep.
I was actually, a couple of years ago, just kind of doing a secret shopping type of call. And it was a clinic that happened to kill somebody here in Los Angeles. And I was asking if their doctors were accepted members of the IAHRS and, all kinds of questions. And The first response to that was, well, in this industry, you have a choice of being a member of the IAHRS or the ISHRS. And I was like, really? That's interesting. I had no idea. And
tell me more.
Yeah. And I said, well, okay, I'm considering having a hair transplant. You know, I read a lot about you guys. I see you guys are advertising on the billboard over the 405, which that's how fucked up this industry is. Billboard advertising for cosmetic surgery. And I didn't mention the fact that I had read in the paper that they had killed somebody.
Just kind of left that out, that part out. Yeah.
But so this particular consultant, this salesperson, this used car salesperson, in my view, went on to tell me that I sounded like I really wanted hair, that I wasn't that I wasn't happy, and that they had they could help me. And I said, well, okay, so when, do I see a doctor? How does this work? And he said, no, well, actually, we have an opening on Sunday. If you want to just come in and have surgery, doctor could assess you then.
Just come on in.
Yeah. And you know what I did? I made the appointment. Never showed.
Never showed.
Let those motherfuckers open the door, turn on the lights, and show up for fucking surgery.
Spend the money to pay their techs to come in.
That's it. And they can go fuck themselves. Now, what I found interesting was they did not ask me for a deposit. Said you can pay when you come in, bring your credit card. I asked them how any forms to fill out, whatever it is. It would have been done sight unseen right there. Now, it was pretty dumb of them not to ask for a deposit before they opened their doors.
Of course.
But they may have had their doors open anyway. I don't know. Maybe they're doing consults that day. But I never forget, this place was on, well, I won't even say the boulevard, but it was in Culver City, here in the Los Angeles area, in a strip mall. And there were neon light signs in the window that said $2 a graft.
I just want to know if the salesman said, "Sir, we're not selling hair, we're selling peace of mind."
Yeah, we're not selling hair. We're selling self-confidence, self-worth.
We're selling life.
We're selling your ability to move on with your life and be happy. We're giving you an opportunity to save yourself.
Saving yourself, exactly.
Anyway, so I mean, these guys killed somebody in the chair. It was that year. I actually had to look them up and see if they're still around. I don't think they are, because this is actually close. It was close to the old Westwood One studio where I did the show from in Culver City. So that's how I knew about this particular company. And I would drive by every week on my way to work. I would drive by, and they had this entire, it looked like one floor of this strip mall. It was on the second floor, and it was $2 graft hair transplants. And then in neon signs, every window said $2 per graft. And people actually had surgery with these guys. That's how fucked up this industry is. That's how vulnerable we are as hair loss sufferers.
Well, when you're leading in on price, that just kind of helps to fuel the lack of understanding by the consumer. And this is one of those industries where the less the consumer knows, the better you'll do as a business. And when you put the price out there, it's just like what's going on in Turkey when, someone contacts a clinic they see on whatever, clinic review website, and they contact the clinic through WhatsApp, and the first thing that they talk about is, oh, we'll do a great job for you, all inclusive for X number of euros, including this, this, and this, and this. When do you want to come?
Right.
It's the same thing. Same thing. I mean, honestly, the $2 a graft clinic was ahead of its time.
Yes.
by going for that price first, quality third.
Well, I think you make a really good point. You know, if anyone wants to do a consultation with you through WhatsApp, in my view, I have to say it's a great app. It's great to have conversations with people in Europe and all over the world. But if you're having a conversation with a consultant to travel across the world to Asia/Europe to have a hair transplant, that's a bad idea. It's a really fucking bad idea. And even if you're closer, even if you're going from the UK or another part of the world, that is a really bad idea. It is a stupid plan. It makes absolutely no sense. And that's the fascinating part of this industry, is that it makes no sense. They're able to do whatever the fuck they want to people because hair loss just essentially zaps any of our fucking common sense out of our fucking head. And because we think this is a possibility that we can be helped, we're like, oh, shit, they must be doing something right. They're in business. They're doing hair transplants. All hair transplants are the same. I'm going to pay, €1 graft.
I wonder if there are any clinics that do this with dentistry.
There are none, actually. Now, there are clinics that will do, there are some practices now that you see, like these large chain implant practices that are advertising on television, same-day dental implants.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the biggest problem with that is, and I find it shocking that people are willing to do this and don't understand what it takes to get a dental implant. But by the time you need a dental implant, you already have bone loss. You have periodontal disease. That means that the tooth has to be removed. One or two reasons. Either that tooth is cracked, and the crack is so deep that it creates a pocket of bacteria that cannot be fixed unless that tooth is removed.
Yeah.
In most cases, there will be bone loss. So usually the jaw has a lot of bone. Once the implant is put in, the bone will grow around that area. But if it's done the same day as the extraction, they will normally try to use some sort of a cadaver or a porcine cadaver bone graft. So they will then go in, it's much more of a major procedure, extract your teeth, put in this fucking bone graft, and then slam that fucking implant, that titanium, into your jaw, and then put the crown on top of that in one fucking day. You want to get a dental implant done correctly? That tooth has to be removed. You got to wait at least 30 to 90 days for your natural bone to grow back.
Yeah.
And then have the implant put in. And then wait another 2 or 3 weeks to have the crown put on that implant. Now, if everyone knew about that, these companies wouldn't exist. But so what's happening is, in my view, and again, I know I seem like an expert in all this stuff, but I'm researching every aspect of cosmetic surgery, including cosmetic dentistry, for the project that I'm working on. So I guess I am becoming this, I'm getting this bizarre encyclopedic knowledge of all this shit that no one should ever really have to know. But in the end, these poor people's mouths and jaws could possibly be damaged. There's a greater chance of rejection of the implant, a greater chance of complications. So you asked the question, I went on a tangent, but yes, there are now companies in the dental industry that are working kind of like the hair transplant field. Like it's just an easy fix. Kind of like the old Bosley model.
Well, there's also, and this is something that I've got experience with, is LASIK. Billboards with, $275 per eye.
Oh my God,
that kind of crap.
Yeah.
And people have no idea what they're getting into. That's my shtick outside of hair is LASIK eye surgery, or PRK, which is much better. But LASIK eye surgery, it's like you rarely get a second chance.
Right.
At eye surgery. I mean,
there's a great
blows my mind.
There's a great King of Queens when Doug buys what's her name, Carrie, a present. She needed her eyes done, and he said, you know, I'm going to pay for this, and apparently he got like a Groupon type of situation, and she was almost blinded. You know, she could not see for a while. Now, while obviously this is a comedy. I mean, it really speaks to the reality of what's going on out there. I have seen ads, I'm not even joking. Breast augmentation. Now, breasts are sold in pairs, normally, unless you have a mastectomy or some sort of a deformity.
Right.
That essentially, they will charge you only for one implant. So you buy one implant to get the other implant free. It doesn't say breasts, implants. It's just the sale of the implants themselves. So essentially, half cost on the pair. But you know what's even crazier?
Yeah.
That there's so many idiots in this world, and I'm sorry to say this, guys, and I know that we're all vulnerable, but there's so many idiots in this fucking world who fall for all of this bullshit.
Jay Jones in the chat room says, I have permanent severe dry eye from LASIK. And I hate hearing that, man. It's like when I first started looking at eye surgery, because from the time I was 8 years old, I would need glasses just to get out of bed. That's how bad my nearsightedness was. And it was 12 years ago I went and I had PRK.
Your wife needs glasses just to go to bed with you.
Exactly. Ba-doom,
yeah.
You need that sound effect.
Yeah. I have it actually,
but
who knows if YouTube's going to come after us for that.
Yeah, no kidding. But I was so obsessed with finding out everything I could about LASIK, and then I quickly learned that LASIK is actually not a good procedure.
Right.
Especially if you have any sort of excitement in your life that's beyond, sitting at a receptionist desk. Because with LASIK, they're physically cutting your eye,
right,
and then zapping you, and letting it heal by secondary.
They're basically just putting letting the flap heal itself.
Yeah, heal itself.
Right.
Whereas PRK, that's the one where they don't cut the eye. They don't touch it.
Right.
They dissolve the epithelium, brush it away, rinse it away, then they zap it, and over the course of 2 weeks, the epithelium regrows,
back, right.
And the integrity of your eye, the pressure inside of your eye is maintained and undisturbed. This is what pilots get. This is what Navy SEALs get because of the difference in atmospheric pressures that they go through. With LASIK, you do that, your cornea can literally pop off.
Right.
And it's like, and you're blind. It's like, fuck, are you kidding me?
It's scary,
and there's
stuff.
so much more, and there's so much more possibility for mistakes. And they're advertising this stuff like I said. I don't think I've ever seen 2 for $1, but only $250 an eye, or only $750 for both eyes.
Yeah. Billboards
leading with the price, and people are flocking to it. Most people don't even know what the hell PRK is, because with LASIK, I mean that was what was popularized 30 years ago.
Well, I mean,
through all the Today Show.
The branding has been
it's
overwhelming.
Been
By the way, Joe Moore is asking a question in the chat room. Joe, call the show 888-659-3727. This is a call-in show. We are only staying on the air if we get calls. The only reason I'm working on a Friday is but the only reason I'm working, because you can do whatever you want, is to get calls. Now, I'm going to check the phones. They are working. The phone number is 888-659-3727. All right, we got a call. Let's take it. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello.
Joe Moore calling in.
Mr. Moore, how are you, sir? I forced your ass to call in.
About a podcast. You did.
How you been, Joe?
I'm good, guys. I'm good. I'm good.
Your phone is breaking up. Are you on
hold on.
speakerphone or what?
I am. I'll take it off
All right.
speakerphone. So, how is everybody?
We're good, man.
I can't complain.
We can't complain. What's going on?
Okay. All right. So my son asked me about finasteride because a friend of his mentioned it to him. And I said, well, let me look at your hair since I'm such an expert. Anyway, so yeah, his crown area is a little thinning. He's going to be 26 years old. And I said, I don't know, if that's a good idea. So let me ask the experts.
Well, I mean, the experts say that, again, we're not physicians, but
right.
I wish I had the opportunity to get on finasteride at 25. I was like 28, I think, when it was made available. Not as Propecia, but as Proscar. So,
right.
The reason I'm behind this microphone today is because of finasteride. It changed my life. It changed my world. It gave me to drive to write my book and to do what I do. So if you're asking me what I think about finasteride, it could be life-changing. He has two choices right now. Now, he needs to talk to his doctor about it. He either gets on finasteride or he goes bald. That's his choice.
Yeah. Okay. Especially if he's got half of his pop's genes in him.
Yes, he does.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is important to consider getting on it. I wish I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. If I had been on finasteride early on in my hair loss journey, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have gone through the surgical journey I've been through. I wouldn't have. I guarantee. I'm positive that my life would have taken a completely different direction. I'm not saying it because I regret it. I love my life direction, but it's hair loss. It's put me where I am today, as opposed to retaining my hair and moving on to be a dive master in the Bahamas or whatever. So the earlier the better.
So let me ask you a question. What was his concern? Just his concern is should I take this, or was his concern about adverse side effects? If it's going to work, what was his question?
His concern is that he is his father's son, and having gone now through the 2 surgeries I've gone through, and he's like, I'm predisposed, Dad, aren't I? And I'm like, yeah. He's not concerned about anything other than retaining what he's got. So he's not worried yet about, any kind of side effects yet, so.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the good news. The fact that he asked you about the drug and he didn't ask you about side effects means that
that's a good sign.
That's a good sign that he's not over-researching. He's not going on the internet and reading all the fear mongering. And I mean, there are obviously some reality to having adverse side effects from the drug, but that's like taking any other medication.
Yeah, well, no, we know this. So, and there's like 5 milligram. Is there such a thing? Is there 2 milligram? 1 mil? I mean, I'm on 5, and I take it like every other day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and
that's just to retain. Sorry to interrupt, but right. I mean, we're talking about retaining hair that we have. Is that correct?
That is. Well, you can actually regrow some hair. Now, here's the way that it works. Essentially, finasteride or Propecia and Proscar. You're on 5 milligrams of Proscar every.
Yeah.
The drug Proscar every other day. So essentially what you're doing is you're blocking the enzyme 5-alpha reductase type 2, which converts testosterone into the byproduct dihydrotestosterone, which stops the miniaturization process or slows it. So when you're saying does it maintain hair, yeah, it can definitely maintain your hair indefinitely, but it can also reverse the miniaturization process that's already occurring that could be making your son notice his hair loss. So some of that hair and some of that visible hair loss could reverse. So he might actually get some regrowth. I was one of the lucky ones who did. I noticed regrowth I noticed a cessation of hair loss within 3 months and regrowth around the same time. And it was significant for me. So what's your son's hair look like right now?
Full head of hair as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but you don't count. No, but really, if he's asked,
if you're asking me, I know you're asking me seriously, man, look at he's 26, 25, 26. It looks okay to me, but I could see signs of. So why not stop it now?
Well, that's the thing. If you see signs of, that means he's balding.
I think so. Again, I'm not the doctor, but he needs to go see his doctor, and I think that finasteride is the smart way to go. I just wasn't sure of side effects. I haven't looked it up, but I seem to recall there were some issues. There have been, over the years.
Oh, yeah. If you look it up, there are going to be people who are, listen, the clinical side effects are, the main one is loss of libido and impotence.
Right.
That's big. That's a big one. That's what everyone is fucked up over. Now, clinically, with 5 milligrams, it's about 5%. With 1 milligram, which is the dosage that your son would probably be prescribed, it's less than 2%. Clinically, it was 1.8% of the guys who were on the drug and 1.6 something percent of the guys on the placebo. Both had sexual side effects. So clinically, that's negligible. However, in the real world, what we're seeing online is more people seem to be experiencing side effects than ever before. Now, there is this theory, it's a mass hysteria theory, that guys who read about it are overly concerned about it, and then we know how sex works. If you think you can't get it up, you can't get it up, dude. No matter what.
Yeah.
As soon as it enters your mind, that adrenaline kicks in, you're fucking finished.
Yeah.
So my advice would be for him to talk to a doctor who's knowledgeable about hair loss. You might want him to and see. You went to Victor, right? Victor Hasson for your transplant. You might want him to at least talk to him on the phone so that he can get a little bit of an idea of Dr. Hasson's clinical experience even before he sees his doctor.
Right.
Just to give him a little confidence.
No, with Jerry. Wait, no, I didn't see Victor. I saw Dr. Wong.
Oh, Dr. Wong.
It's like
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, or speak to Jerry. I mean, Joe, what do you think?
Yeah.
Joe Tillman, what do you think?
Sorry, what?
I know. Jerry blankly.
Do you think that I think things are going to maybe his son speaks to Joe's hair transplant doctor?
Of course, absolutely. Just contact the office and talk to Christina at the front desk. I know there's someone else there as well, and just let her know that what you told us, and I'm sure she'd be happy to set up an appointment with Dr. Wong.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
He'll recommend
probably a quarter tablet of Proscar every other day, because your son has so much hair still, he'll say that's more than enough, and that should settle.
Okay. Now, there's an interesting story that just came out in the news 2 days ago, and it was about Ashton Kutcher talking about his hair loss and the fact that at the age of 25, he was prescribed dutasteride. Yeah. And it saved his hair for many years. He chose to get off the drug because he wanted to have children. Mm-hmm. And now he says he's starting to lose his hair again. It was a big story, but it's fascinating to me that this is a guy that is obviously known for his looks, known for his hair. He didn't think twice about getting on the drug, and a much stronger drug than finasteride. It worked for him, and now he's admitting that now that he stopped, he's back into the hair loss game.
So that's not a myth that once you stop, like let's say weeks or a month after you've stopped, that you could start seeing hair loss again?
Let me ask you a question. If you stop brushing your teeth, what's going to happen?
Boy,
Exactly.
they will decay. They will decay.
And your hair is going to decay as well. That's just the way it is. So essentially when you're brushing your teeth and when you are flossing, you are you're basically keeping at bay the inevitable decay of your teeth, gums, and your bones. That's the way.
So should I crush up the tablets and make it into a paste and brush my teeth? What do you think?
Possibly.
Is that the way to go? Is that the new way to go?
Well, if you want to, if you want to grow hair on your teeth, that may work.
You could just crush it into powder, and then use the old credit card trick.
Yeah. Listen,
well,
Joe,
okay.
always a pleasure. And listen, thank you for the kind words on my Facebook page a couple of weeks ago. I really appreciate that, man.
Well, you look great. You never change. Tillman, you need a haircut. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, Mr. Moore, don't forget to send me a copy of your daughter's album.
Yeah, you should come to L.A. You should, and Spencer, you should come out to my daughter's show on June 19th. It's her. She's got a brand new album coming out, and come on, get out of the house, get out.
Dude, if I got to wait in line for anything, I'm not going.
You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to wait in line.
Okay.
There's no lines in these clubs in L.A. It's not. We're not going to Staples or the.
Well, I don't know if she's playing at the Whiskey. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, I'll tell you about it after this break.
All right, man.
All right.
All right.
I will say, I got to tell you, Joe.
Thank you.
She's fantastic. I love the music. I've been a big fan since you first sent me the link a couple years ago, and some of their work is some of my favorite music.
Great. Living More, everybody. Living More. I say Living More. That's the name of the band, Living More. Okay,
Living More.
All right.
Great band.
Joe Moore, thanks for the call, man. And good luck. And wish your son the best luck. And again, we are not giving medical advice on this show.
I understand, yes.
All
everybody understand that? Okay, thanks.
All right, take care.
Bye.
See you, Joe.
See ya.
888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Good evening. This is TBT UK contributor Spex giving you guys a call.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Oh, good, buddy. Finally, you guys are doing a sociable hour where UK guys can come in and actually contribute.
So
thank you very much.
What time is it there? It's like about 10:30 or something?
10:30, something like that. No, I subscribed to Joe's YouTube channel, and the reminder popped up, which is fantastic. I thought I'd quickly just give you guys a call because it's nice to be able to speak to you guys at a reasonable hour, because obviously your normal live show is 1 or 2 a.m., and hence it's always been a struggle. But I do know for a fact that this is going to be a successful show for you guys, because I've spoken to a few UK guys. They're all keen to now be able to call in because of the sociable hour. So good for you. I hope it continues to be a great success.
Well, here's the good news. It's a good thing for everybody. It's a good thing for TBT. It's a good thing for your work in the UK and what you've been doing for so many people. I mean, the press that you've been getting. Spex is amazing, and like I said, it's funny. There's so many fucking assholes in this business, and there's so many guys who don't deserve to have, in my view, and even the smallest level of success. You're a guy who's actually out there trying to help people, and I really appreciate it, and I'm proud to have you as a TBT contributor. I wish we would do more broadcasts, actually. So we got to start doing that.
Been a busy personal year with various things going on, and unlike you guys, I've got kids, so that throws a real spanner in the works. And,
that can be an added factor to consider for sure. But
they are dream killers. Just kidding.
I want to reiterate. Great job on the exposure and the media coverage that you've been getting, and I know that it's just a lot of great information for people that are following you in the UK. So congratulations on that.
And while I cannot disclose this right now, Spex, but there's going to be something big happening in the UK in a few months that we would like you to be involved in.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing about that. That is Sounds exciting. Always exciting, and always good to be involved in. And yeah, I appreciate. Thanks for that. It's been a busy. Last week was crazy with media, and like you guys know, once they light the touch paper, it just goes with one thing or another. So exciting. But I tell you what, just quickly while I've got you, interesting topic that Joe was discussing there, the caller, with regards to the finasteride. Personally, I was on finasteride 17 years, and I stepped it up to dutasteride, which obviously Ashton Kutcher's been in the media about, and that just blew up. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting that Ashton Kutcher, went straight on to dutasteride. I love the way he's playing it down, that, he's been off it a few years and now he might get back on. It wouldn't surprise me if he ever came off it, but who knows, hey? But no, I got on really well with finasteride, as you guys both know. Really great success, but I chose to step it up to dutasteride, and I've had some great, maintenance with that, and been on that a few years now with no side effects. But each to their own. You tried dutasteride, didn't you, Joe? I remember.
I did about 10 years ago, and I was on it for. I wasn't really tracking it. Like, I wasn't being really obsessive about tracking it. It was just I'll try it kind of decision. And I was on it for probably 2 years, and I didn't see any sort of benefits. In fact, I saw side effects of bloat. Like, I actually started. I got larger, and I don't know if it was water retention or what it was exactly, but I didn't even really realize it until I started doing some more of the videos I was doing back then. And I'd look back at myself and be like, what the hell is wrong with me? And I wasn't, I was in the gym every once in a while. I wasn't eating crazy, nothing extreme, but I had certainly gained a lot of puffiness in my face. And so I did stop at one point, switch back to finasteride. Again, no difference whatsoever for me. And but my puffiness disappeared, and it's never returned. So that's the only effect I ever had from it.
Like we know, if it's not broken, don't go and fix it. Hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've had no noticeable side effects changing from finasteride to dutasteride. It would be an interesting case study to take it back to finasteride and see what happens, but I don't probably want to roll those dice.
I actually have a question for you. And guys, we'll take your calls in a second. 888-659-3727. I know that you had put online and you were tracking your results for a while that you were using bimidiprost for your eyebrows. How is that working out?
Well, no, thanks for reminding me on that one, because you know what? I had great results with that. I documented it on the Bold Truth Talk forum, and you can see the results there, and they were great. And you know what? Life just got in the way. I don't think I ordered the bottle, and it just slowly but surely, notoriously, stopped taking it, or stopped using it, rather. Eyebrows went back, and I only stumbled across a bottle again whilst we were moving house. I thought, you know what? Reminded me about my eyebrows, looked at my eyebrows, compared where they were like when I was using it. I was like, oh shit, they're bad. This stuff really did work. So I bumped the topic back up, and I've started using it again, and got a load of bottles on order because it's a prescription medication, and I'm going to redo it again and monitor it again. Now, hopefully, I can get back to where I was at with my eyebrows. It's like anything, until you kind of step back and realize and reassess. My eyebrows were never a major concern of mine, but I must admit it was nice to regrow them and thicken them up, and it definitely did as a result of using it. And clearly, by stop using it, I lost maintained the benefits of using it, and hopefully I'll get there again. It'll take a few months, probably 6 or 8. You know the drill.
Sure. Well, I know Joe wants to increase his but he wants more robust eyelashes, apparently.
I knew it. I was waiting for that.
No, actually,
I heard you wanted to use it on your chest hair, Spence.
Oh man!
Thank you.
My 4 chest hairs. Everyone makes fun of them.
Yeah.
all 3 of them.
All right, listen.
Well, listen. I'll leave you guys to it. Great, to have you guys now on a Friday night. Good luck with the show. The show is just going from strength to strength. Everybody I speak to is aware of it. And, now you guys are now a Friday night and a reasonable hour.
Well, listen, dude, you are Spex. You are, the UK contributor to the Bald Truth. So, I mean, you call in whenever you want, man. You're part of the show.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Well, listen,
right.
I'll leave you guys to it. Have a great evening, and hopefully see you guys soon.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
Yeah, thanks for calling, buddy.
All right.
Later.
Take care.
Bye.
Guys, phone number 888-659-3727. You guys who are on hold who just hung up, call back. Again, no calls, no show. That's the way it works. Spex has been getting a tremendous amount of press in the UK, and in turn, so has the Bald Truth, and so has the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, and so has the American Hair Loss Association. So
has Hair Transplant Mentor.
So is Hair Transplant Mentor. It's all for one and one for all. We want to be able to work with guys who know what the fuck they're talking about, who are really interested in helping consumers, and who have been through their own hair loss struggles. Spex is a guy who's had what? He may have had more surgeries than you.
I think he has.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think he's had 11.
Holy shit.
Yeah, if I got that correct. Yeah.
That's insane. All right, guys, let's take some phone calls. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, man, welcome.
Hey.
Hi.
There he is.
Oh, hey, okay. I'm got a delayer going. Hey, man, this is Pete calling you from Atlanta.
Pete from Atlanta.
Hello,
what's happening, man? How are you?
Yeah, man. I talked to you guys a while back, about a year or so ago. Had a HT with Ken Anderson. I don't know if you remember.
You know what? We get a lot of guys calling in, but I sometimes I do remember. Tell me about the HT with Ken Anderson. How'd it go?
Yeah, it went really well. I had a real good experience with him. We touched in a lot about some of the shock loss and some of the stuff that you go through after the procedure and stuff like that. But
what did you have? I don't remember. Did you have a strip procedure, an ARTAS procedure, or a handheld FUE?
It was an ARTAS procedure, about 2,500 grafts.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So, again, if you called a year ago, we got a whole bunch of new listeners. Talk about your experience.
I had a great experience with Ken. Like I said, he was there for the whole procedure. He pretty much he did all the work except for what the technicians do at the end. They put the grafts in at the end.
Well, you do know that Ken Anderson is probably one of the few, and he's an IAHRS member, of course, guys who utilize the ARTAS in their practice who actually runs it. So that's pretty unusual.
I didn't know that at first, and obviously after listening to you guys and doing some more research afterwards, I found that out. Yeah,
that's a big fucking deal. I mean, listen, I always believed, and I say this all the time, that robotics should be the future of this industry. Do I think that it will be? The way things are looking right now, I'm not quite sure. However, it's a great piece of engineering that has really evolved over the years, and that is why I consulted with the company for, I guess, about 2 years. I don't know if they've reached the logical endpoint and how far they can go, but for what they have right now, if a person knows what they're doing and runs that machine properly, then it could be a really great experience. The problem is, in my view, most people who are running that machine don't know what the fuck they're doing. So you lucked out, man.
Right, and it's like it's a tool, and as long as the guy's in the right hands, I think you're okay. And I lucked out with Ken. Ken's a great guy, and I just kind of went with him. He was the first guy that I took a consultation with, and I just had a gut feeling about him. He's just a good dude, and I thought, okay, I liked everything that I had found online with him, and I liked the way he approached the whole thing. So I just went with him. Normally I would get 2 or 3 different consults and look around a little more, but I don't know. I just had a good feeling about him, man, and I just went with it.
Well, listen, he's skilled at what he does. He cares about what he does, and I have to tell you, he's one of only a handful of doctors who I would drink with. So, if that says anything.
And he's really fun to drink with.
And he's fun to drink with.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, but I mean,
sure.
Listen, everyone has, we all are allowed to let loose once in a while, but this is a very diligent, responsible, caring physician, and I'm not just saying that because he's part of the IAHRS. There are members of my organization who I believe are all very caring and very diligent. However, there are different levels of of diligence as far as patient aftercare, as far as really staying in contact personally with each patient, and that's something that Ken does that I really appreciate.
And I can say, I don't work with Dr. Anderson, and I met him. When was it? It was a year and a half ago at the Vegas conference, and spent some time with him. And I can say from my personal experience with him that he does give a shit. I mean, he's got this nerdism to him about the procedure and what he does. So I'm sure you got that from your consultation and your experience with him. So I'm not surprised you had a good experience with him. But on the artist issue, what you said, it's just a tool. That's exactly what I say. And the tool is only as good as the hand that wields it. That's one of my sayings. And artists in general, I'm not a fan, only because of the way that it's getting into the hands of rank amateurs that know fuck all about what they're doing. Just like all these other machines out there. I was actually dealing with a patient just the other day that contacted me. He had an ARTAS procedure with some clinic in Mexico where you go to their website and hair transplantation is on the far side. Everything before you get to the hair transplant section, boobs, butts, lips, tummy tucks, everything before it, and they don't even have photos of the robot or of results that they've done. Nothing. Just says we do the ARTAS robot, and that was it. And this guy went down there, he had the procedure, and he's contacting me because he's really unhappy. You went to someone that knows how to wield the tool, and that's the difference. Right. I'm not surprised, but I'm also glad.
Well, if you went to a guy like Scott Alexander, this guy would sit there the entire time with you, and he uses an ARTAS, and his patients they're really happy. Alan Bauman's patients are really happy. I don't think Dr. Rocha uses it a lot, but when he does use it, he knows how to use it, and his patients are really happy. Yeah. But I can name, Bob Bernstein too, on one hand, and it's not the machine. And I want to make this clear. And we're going on this tangent because this is an important subject for new guys who are tuning in to know about. This is not to demean or diminish the brand or the technology. It's great technology. But exactly what Joe says, it is 100%, in my view, no matter what anybody says or the way things are advertised, user dependent, because the user has to set those parameters. And as those, as that device is going from area to area of the scalp, the person who's in charge has to know when there's an issue that has to be reset or adjusted in some way. If you don't know what you're doing, you are fucked. We had an undercover tech talk about, how a lot of people who set up this machine and other machines set things up before a patient comes to the door. And according to her, essentially what they do is they put the largest punch possible into the device, whether it's an ARTAS machine or another device, to ensure that they are going to get a lower transection rate. Now, what does that mean? That means that it's not a one-size-fits-all procedure. I mean, they're looking at it as a one-size-fits-all procedure. They're not looking at individual patients, things of that nature. So, lesson learned here you had a great experience because you went to a great doctor. And we have to kind of drive this home because there's so many new guys who are watching and listening who are still confused by all these different brands, quote unquote. Yeah. And they're looking at them as procedures. So I'm sorry that we took up your time with that rant, but I just thought it was important that we talk about it.
Oh, no. And when I approached this initially, I saw the ARTAS, I saw the strip procedure, and I really wasn't shopping the tool as much as I was the doc. I'm a contractor, so you can put a hammer in anybody's hand. It's kind of a crude comparison, but it's the same deal.
It's the exact same. Yeah. It's a great analogy, actually. Yeah.
And I can build something. I can give that hammer to somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and they'll destroy something. So I was really shopping more the doctor than I was the art. The artist looked cool to me. Yeah, it was flashy and cool, and but I was more shopping who was going to wield the tool. And I just got a good vibe from the dude immediately. He did care. He was there the whole time. He did all the incisions for where the transplanted hairs were going.
Yeah.
I couldn't have been happier with the whole procedure, man. And the results are pretty good too. So that's another benefit.
Oh, dude,
that does kind of mean something.
Yeah. That's actually that's the big deal right there. So listen, man, I'm really.
You start off, you don't want to get fucked up, and so that was the first goal, not to get fucked up, and then I moved on to let's see what the.
Well, sometimes you don't know you're fucked up until a year later.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
So
I'm about 16 months into this, and it's come in good, man. It's I'm really happy with the procedure. I feel like got a lot more hair. My wife even said, this was well worth it. I can't. If I lift up the back of my hair and look where he took the donor stuff, I can't see a single mark. I mean, now I'm 50 now, so I'm getting a little bit older. It might be harder to see, but I mean, my wife looked in there and she's like, I can't even see where they took this hair from. So
that's amazing. And the thing is, I know that he's a guy that actually spends the money on the upgrades. And that's another thing that people have to understand about all of these devices. Especially this device, is that, there are software and hardware upgrades that, in order to really have state-of-the-art work, the physician or the company has to be willing to invest in these upgrades.
Yeah.
Those who don't invest in the upgrades, it's kind of like comparing an Etzel to a fucking, a Maserati.
It's not like buying a MacBook where you get free software upgrades.
Right.
For the OS. Yeah. You got to pay for each one.
So I think it's really important for anyone who's considering having an artist or a doctor having a procedure done by a physician who has an artist. The first question should be, when was your latest upgrade? And do you have the latest upgrade? And if they don't, in my view, you move on. If this is what you want, you move on to a doctor who does and who is going to be there throughout the surgery.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well said.
It's a real good point. Yeah.
All right, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I told you guys I'd call you back and give you an update, and let you know how it all came out. And I was just doing that, and it came out pretty good. I'm really happy. It lived up to my expectations. Obviously not back to White Snake level, but I'm happy, man. I throw a little kabuki in there and some hairspray. I don't use the gas mask like Spence, but when the hairspray.
You should start because it'll save your lungs. Because I'll be 90 years old running marathons with that gas mask. Believe me.
Well, I'm gonna look into getting one. I think Amazon's got a special this week, so I'll see what they got working.
All right, dude. Just look for a relatively inexpensive respirator. They work great.
Go to the zombie apocalypse section of Walmart and find your own.
Dude, you're a fucking contractor. Go to Home Depot. Use your discount card.
I'd be wearing this shit anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should already have one.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Listen, I'm really happy that you had great results. And Ken Anderson's he's really good at what he does. So you lucked out.
All right, man. Great show, guys. I enjoy listening to you. And, everybody have a good night.
Thanks. Take care.
Thanks for calling.
All right.
Phone number. Jesus, my nose itches. No, I'm not doing any dry goods. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Gentlemen, this is Dave from Brooklyn, New York. How are you guys?
Hey, Dave. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? Yeah, in regards to the caller who was mentioning his repair job with Cooley, obviously, I think we all wish him the best. And it's callers like him who, resonate so much with guys like myself, guys like me who I really just take, all of these, everybody makes interesting points, and it just, adds to the information, and it just allows us to make better decisions. And again, you guys are your commodity is the truth and honesty. That's your commodity. And of course, your hard work and research. And I just, want to tell you how much I appreciate what both of you do very, very much.
Well, Dave, listen, I appreciate the kind words. And I want people to know, and this is very important to me, that, doing what I do, and Joe does what he does, it's hard. It's hard trying to find the right physicians for everybody. It's hard trying to, when you're not sitting in that office day in, day out, seeing every move that, that's going on, it's really impossible to give somebody any type of a guarantee that they're going to get a great result if they choose a doctor who happens to have made the grade to be part of the IAHRS. And that's why I really try to make it clear that surgery is a last resort. We have done our due diligence to make sure that these physicians, A, meet the minimum requirements just to apply to the organization, and have had consistent results over the years. Things change, and that's the beauty of what we do and what I do is like I will kick somebody out of the IAHRS, or I will say, hey, look, you know what, I'm not really that happy with what's happening, and how you change the infrastructure of your practice. Even if I'm not getting complaints, I may choose to separate myself. You will see guys no longer be on the IAHRS, and then new guys pop up all the time. So I think it's really important for anyone. And like you said, you say that we're a commodity and that we're doing great work. As great of a job as we do, in the end, we're just trying to educate patients so they can make their own decisions. And even though doctors are part of what we do, and even Joe says, I will have surgery with the doctors who are on his website, those doctors can fuck you up. And people need to know that.
That's why when I'm talking to people that are contacting me, I mean,
your camera's off, Joe.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, let me. I'll be right back with that thought.
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say that I just had an experience with a doctor, and this is not hair related, but it was a little bit of false advertising, a little bit of sketchy advertising, and I thought and then he kind of it was a little bit of a bait and switch, although technically he was not lying on his advertisement, but it was just it was a little bit. There was definitely some sketchiness there, and I walked out of his office. Right, I said, you know what? Not in a rude way. I just said, well, I'm gonna think about it, or
Tell me what the sketchiness, what you felt the sketchiness was. Explain the scenario.
Well, believe it or not, it was. I was getting some filler, some Restylane filler.
Why? Believe it or not, why wouldn't I believe it? How old are you?
44 years old.
I can't believe it. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, so I walked out of his office, and then I said, I really need this done, and price is right. And I literally turned back, and I went into his office, and I was a little embarrassed, and I said, well, you know what, I thought about it again, and, I'll go through with it, but, and then he goes, yeah, no problem, come in, and we'll do it. And he kind of botched me. You know what I mean? I've got some bruising now. I mean, it shouldn't be.
Let me ask you this. Okay, where did you have the filler placed?
Well, I was going for a tear trough, but he went directly underneath the eye, which is really, from what I understand, a little bit quite dangerous, actually. So I think he went a little bit too close to the nose area.
You have there are arteries and major veins. That's a very vascular area, right?
Yeah.
So if it were to hit an artery or to hit a vein, there's a much greater chance of necrosis, skin death, tissue death, which happens more often than most people realize. People believe that having Botox and fillers is just some, really simple, safe outpatient procedure that has no real complications, except if they do have complications, are temporary. Some of these complications are permanent. People lose pieces of their face.
Yeah.
So this is not to scare you, because this did not happen to you, but this is just to further educate you if you decide to have this done again.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate it. And what I learned from this is, after this experience, I told my girlfriend, I said, that is it. This is my final lesson. If I walk into an office and I don't like you, and I don't like the way you talk, or I don't like some sketchy, I am so out of there. I am like, I'm kind of happy this happened, because this is it. And the other guy I go to, who just was not available, this guy is like the nicest guy. And of course, nice guys can do bad work, and bad guys, mean guys can do great work. I understand that. But in my experience, when the guy or the female, if I'm not enjoying the way they talk, if I don't like the way they're, if I don't like even the way their receptionist is talking to me, from now on, I'm taking that as a red flag. I am so out of that office.
Well, that's actually smart. But let me ask you, and if this is too personal, you're anonymous anyway. But okay, so essentially, what you wanted to do is you felt that your under eyes were a little hollow, or you needed them to be lifted. Okay.
Exactly.
Now, what people don't understand, and this is really important, and again, I know all of this because I've been researching this for going on 6 years. I don't know. When did I do the first plastic surgery live? 2012. After that first broadcast, I realized this is the most fucked up industry. It's worse than hair. And I want to really do my due diligence before I got on the air, so that I'm not just a person interviewing doctors so that I could promote them, that I can give people advice like I do with hair. There's something known as, or not really known, but it's called filler fatigue. And what happens when you use these injectables? Now, basically these injectables, for the most part, were made for the use for people who had real defects, deficiencies, significant issues, whether they were malformed, deformed, after, skin cancer surgery, or, people who've had gauntness from different diseases, including HIV. These are all great products for these uses. The problem is, as you continue to fill your face, every time you're injected, you're causing, even if it's minute, some sort of fibrotic tissue to form. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you're causing, microscarring. Not the end of the world. You do it a few times. But you're also, if the skin is still taut enough, you're also stretching the skin out. So imagine if you're inflating a balloon and then it deflates when the filler starts to wear off and goes to the lymphatic system and whatever. And then you have to inflate it again. Every time you inflate that area again, you're building a larger pocket. You see a lot of women who are walking around, and it's called filler face, because they start to look like they have this pillow type of a look, where their first few injections may have looked pretty normal, but eventually these doctors end up having to fill up larger spaces because your skin is being stretched out and the pockets are becoming bigger. So in order to maintain that same lift and that tautness of the skin, whether it's the eyes, the cheeks, the chin, jawline, the lips especially, and the cheeks, you're creating these bigger pockets. You're also creating more weight because you're adding volume. Why do we age? We age because of a lot of reasons, but one main reason is gravity. So if you're adding more weight to those areas, including under your eyes, gravity is taking place. As your skin loses elasticity as we get older, that gravity is going to have greater effect. So essentially, in my view, these motherfuckers are aging people before their time. And I have had physicians, and I've done some interviews, and I had one doctor basically say, and then he was a little skittish after he saw it on the air, basically say that he would never have filler injected into his face. And you know what? It's really better for his business because women are coming to him to have facelifts earlier than they normally would.
Wow. I really had no idea any of this was the case. I thought I had done all my research, and there you go. I guess I had not. I should have looked into the long-term consequences, side effects, or.
I'm not saying I'm not saying a little bit in the right. If you have enough hollowness, and you're not tightening the skin too much, you'd probably be okay. But you really have to be in my view, the perfect candidate to have filler done. All these young girls who are getting their lips done, what do you think is happening to their lips? They're stretching their lips. They're stretching that tissue. They're creating larger pockets. By the time they're 40 years old, they're going to have their lips surgically fixed.
Right. And even though those pockets, are obviously tiny pockets within the lips, you're saying that, like inside the skin, that's actually a lot more stretching than outside, right? It's inside where the stretching is taking place.
It's happening both. The pockets are happening inside. The stretching of the skin is happening outside.
I gotcha. I did not know that. Just imagine, the people who've been obese for even just a decade of their life. And then they lose a tremendous amount of weight. That skin has to be removed. So this is the lips are a much smaller area, but if you keep injecting it, it blows up and then it contracts. It blows up, it contracts. Right.
It loses elasticity.
I did not know that. Gentlemen, I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you so much.
You already
for that
did.
Info.
Just kidding.
Well, I just want to quickly shift things back. And again, thank you for that info, Spencer. My question is this, and I know you guys have heard a trillion questions about FUE versus FUT, but my question is it the consensus by both of you gentlemen and by most physicians that even the best FUE doctor cannot, extract, prevent transection and implant as well as the best FUT guy? Or the same guy doing both procedures? Like is FUE just so much more risky, so much less chance that the quality will be as good, or is it more or less, the same?
It's all experience based.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's about practice. Okay. It's about
For years, I was on the front lines talking to patients, talking about how FUE doesn't have the growth and the survival rates of FUT, but all that started to change. I started to notice it around 2010, but it started to really change around 2008, 2009, where there were clinics that were starting to have high survival rates and to have high survival rates on a regular basis, on a consistent basis. And all this has changed for me in the way I look at it. I stopped saying that FUE was inferior around 2010, even though I was working for one of the more recognized FUT clinics in the world. I told the docs, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be telling people that FUE is so bad anymore. It's just not true. And to this day, I believe still that FUT does have, from case to case, averaged out, I do believe it has a higher survival rate, a higher level of consistency, and yes, with the better clinics, not talking about the bad clinics, but just talking about, assuming that you're doing your research and you're looking at top tier clinics on both sides. But I do believe that the difference is so small that it makes no cosmetic difference whatsoever.
Wow.
But I will add this. Where's my camera? Everyone now is offering both. Well, the old school guys are offering both FUT and FUE.
Now everyone is.
Right.
There was one holdout up until 2 years ago.
Right. the truth of the matter is it's all based on economic pressure. So very few, I would say, have really mastered FUE. So if you're considering going to a clinic who's offering both, you better fucking make sure that, and I think most good clinics should offer both, or there should be an option for strip, because strip is still needed. But you better make sure that these people have the experience that you're looking for. It's called time on tissue. And they may say that they do, but you need to do your due diligence to make sure that they do. Because there are some great names out there that are now offering FUE, who will fuck you up.
Well, you know what? I was gonna hold back on my last question, but you're playing right into my hand here, because I was looking at a guy. I was looking at Dr. Voorhees, and I know he does nothing but FUE. So my question was going to be, would he be the ultimate FUE guy because that's all he does, or would a guy like Cooley, who does both, would he be better? Because but even though he's doing both, and obviously has less FUE, work,
Well,
at least.
There's no ultimate. It's not ultimate FUE. I mean, yes, Voorhees has focused on FUE. However, Cooley was a relatively early adopter, meaning that he started to look into it and work with it, practice with it, and experiment with it in the early days. Yeah. Now, he didn't offer it as, he took it slowly because he wanted to learn how to do it the right way. And he did. So he is one of the few guys, I'd say, that is an old-timer. And when I say old-timer, him and I are the same age. So that have been around for a while, who was a strip guy, because that was state-of-the-art, who looked at FUE with a very open mind and learned how to do it correctly. Joe, you actually work with him very closely, so you could obviously.
Well, I actually had an interview with him at the end of my documentary series on my visit to his clinic, where we sat down and we talked about this exact issue, and he goes into his history with FUE, that he was very interested in it. I think he said he was first learned of it at the or saw it at the 2002 IAHRS annual meeting. I think that's when it was, and he experimented with it for several years, but never really gave it a really strong push because it was so difficult and it was such a fringe procedure. But he did continue working with it on some levels. But then I think he said around 2009 or 2010, that's when he realized, this is something I need to kick him to the next level. And he's been working with it solidly ever since.
Wow. Well, gentlemen, what a perfect phone call. I got all the information I needed. And Spencer, thanks for the extra info on the filler stuff. I had no idea about that. Gentlemen,
you got it, guys.
What you guys do is unbelievable. Please have a wonderful weekend, gentlemen.
All right. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thanks for calling.
Take care.
Oh,
sorry, man. 888-659-3727. And yeah, guys in the chat, I know this is a hair loss show, but the guy was asking about fillers, and I thought, hey, I know something about this. Why not help him out?
Come
Jesus.
On, patience.
We're all in this together.
Tolerance.
You're on the air. Who's this?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. Yes. This is Eddie from Arizona.
Eddie from Arizona.
Hello, Eddie.
Welcome, man.
Thanks. I have a question for Joe. I know
wasn't me.
Oh, great. I'll just leave. You know what? By the way, I'm going to get a cup of coffee, so I'm going to let Joe take care of this.
I believe you used to work in Canada?
Yes.
At the Dr. Is it okay to mention their name?
Sure, of course. Hasson and Wong.
Hasson and Wong. So I was looking into them. Do you still highly recommend that facility?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. I mean, I don't highly recommend anyone like on a blanket.
Okay.
As a blanket question, it depends on what you want.
FUT.
Yeah, sure.
Specifically, I was thinking Dr. Hasson.
Yeah, I mean, look, I look at what's on my head. I mean, I don't know if you're watching the show, but I've had 9 surgeries, and 7 of them were with Dr. Wong. So, I mean, he's obviously got a shoehorn space for life on my website because, I owe him everything, and they're both extremely skilled. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it's easy. Absolutely.
I just want to make sure I can't go wrong with either one. And I know you're an anomaly. It's like you have that many procedures.
No, I am an anomaly, and let me back up on this. You can go wrong with either one. I gotta stress this because every doctor that you're looking at, that you're doing your research on, I don't care who it is, they all have patients. At least one, at least 5, I think. Spencer says at least 1. I say at least 5. Mm-hmm. Every top tier, top shelf, number 1 doctor.
I mean, the point
has,
is to
has
say
patients that are unhappy.
The point is, when I say at least 1, I mean it's just
Were you getting some coffee?
I just got some coffee. I could say at least 10. I don't know how many exactly, but obviously the whole point is everyone has a patient who believes they've been fucked up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And so when I say this to about your statement, I can't go wrong with either one. Yeah, you can. You got to know what you want, and you have to explain it to them. Look, I've seen guys walk into different clinics and say, "You're the expert, doc. You just do what you do." Mm-hmm. Fuck no. No, never ever say that, because you'll get what you want, or you'll get what you're asking for, which may not be what you want. Always go in with a plan, and it's up to them to convince you that your plan is wrong, and to show you why, or to talk to you about why, and to educate you based on what they feel is best for your case. You don't have to accept it, but I mean, it's all about choices.
Dude,
from the very beginning.
I went to, and Joe knows this, but in one day I went to 2 doctors. Actually, 2. But I went to 4 of the most well-known, 2 endodontists and 2 periodontists in Beverly Hills. People travel to this area to see at least one of these guys, stay at the Peninsula Hotel, to have implants put into their, if they're losing a tooth. I had a problem with my tooth, and these guys were like, "We need to, you should pull that tooth." Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's something doesn't sound right. I mean, surgeons want to do surgery, so I found a dentist. And happened to be a dentist that I've been going to for a very long time. She was like, "You don't want to pull that tooth. All you have to do is this, this, and this, and we could make sure we could save it, fix it. You have no problem." Now, when she initially said that, I was a little skeptical because these other people were telling me these other things. I did my own research, and I made the decision not to have a tooth taken out of my mouth, and not to have an implant put into my tooth way in the back of my mouth. And it is now fixed. I'm speaking to you today like nothing ever happened. And these are all top guys who everyone would say, if you're going to make a decision about anything in your mouth, go to these guys.
Yeah.
And they were all wrong.
Yeah.
So anybody, no matter, when people always ask me, who's the top, who's the best? You see these guys talking online, who's the best FUE guy?
So the main thing is these guys are reputable, though. At least,
of course,
they're well known and they're good at what they do. They're not just some.
They are some of the best at what they do, and they have some of the best long-term reputations in the field.
So to give you some context, I've had a surgery prior, and I have a huge strip in the back of my head. It's a huge scar.
Okay.
And this
huge
is
long or huge wide or both?
Both. Mostly wide. But it was. I've been dealing with it for years, and I probably did the same thing you did. I think you might have experienced the same thing where they were willing to repair it. They gave me a discount, and I didn't know any better. I was like, well, maybe they, something was on my end. Maybe it was my head, my scalp.
Sure. Here's I'll give you some more money to fix what you fucked up. Here.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, right?
And I'm suffering from it. It's like emotionally, it's just anxiety because I'm like, I have to find ways to hide it.
Who'd you go to?
I mean, you want me to say, or is it?
That's why, yeah.
I only want you to say if you want to say. I asked you.
Bosley. Yeah, and it was.
Where?
Which one?
Man, I don't know if I want to mention his name because I'm so upset about it. I'm extremely upset. I don't know if I have any recourse or something I can.
All right. Well, listen. First of all, you called the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we get your age?
No.
How old are you?
I'm 47.
You're 47 or 27?
47.
47. Okay, so you're a reasonable age to have a hair transplant. How much hair loss did you have when you walked into Bosley?
I think it was a 3A, I believe.
Okay.
What? And how long ago was this? Sorry, you said it was a while ago?
Yeah, I'd say 2015, I believe.
Okay, so that's not that long. That's not too long ago. Did you have a strip or did you have FUE?
I had the strip, and I'm just distraught about the whole thing. I'm like really resigned about even going to anybody. So I've been doing some research. I realized how naive I was and how much secrecy there is in the industry, and there's a lack of transparency. And so I'm hoping these guys.
That's an understatement, my man.
Yeah, so I'm I feel like I have no choice but to go to. I have to fix the problem. I can't just leave it exposed like that.
Okay, now I went out to get some coffee. What exactly is the problem? I'm sorry, say it
again? I didn't see you get coffee. I still see you on there.
Oh no! I'm saying when I put the camera on Joe and you were talking to him.
Oh, gotcha.
I wanted to get some coffee. That's the magic of what we do here.
Yeah. So what was the question?
The question is, what exactly happened? I mean, what exactly are you unhappy with?
I have a huge scar, linear scar, that I can't even cut my hair to a number 7 or 8 without it showing.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, and I'm not diminishing that because that's huge. That's a big deal. What about the growth and the transplant itself? What about the the recipient area? How'd that work out?
I would say it was pretty decent. The hairline, I'm not completely. Something might be. I think something's a little off with the hairline, but it's like if maybe I'm over examining it, but something, or maybe because it's not full enough. Like there's not enough density. But the hairline's decent, but it's for what I was expecting. I mean, it's just what I've seen, the results from other people. It's a complete failure. So I'm overall, I think I would have never, if I could do it all over again, I would never take it on.
Okay.
I would just go bald. I mean, because it's not worth the anxiety and the huge scar in the back. I mean, I'm trying to cover what's missing in the front. Now I have to cover up what's missing in the front and in the back.
Right. And that is a very common theme, and it happens to a lot.
And this scar is a little more than average. I mean, it was a big scar. I don't know how you measure it. Maybe 5 millimeters. Or...
So 5 millimeters in width?
Yeah, width. Yeah. I'm just talking about the width.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, obviously in width, but so you're talking about.
Or maybe 7. It depends. Some parts were even worse. So
would you say it's close? Was it close to a centimeter in the center or at the worst point?
I'd say probably on either side of the center.
Well, let me tell you what the doctor did, and I realized this after the fact. When he made the concision and he closed me up, and he told me, well, okay, so we're 500 short than what we originally were expected to get from you, and he had already closed me up. So he said, what would you like to do? We can open you back up and take some more follicles, or we can just complete the operation. and I'm on Valium. I think that's what he gave me.
Yep, there we go.
What is it? And I'm high, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, open me up, and take out whatever you need. I didn't know any better. I was just so. When you're on that drug, you just don't know any better. You're in this euphoric feeling.
Take a look at Joe.
And so if I knew back now, I should have just left it alone and not have him open me back up.
First of all, and this is important for our listeners as well. And so, the fact that he asked you that question, is fucking mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, why didn't he count it in the first place? Why don't they know how much to take out?
Well, it doesn't even make a difference.
That doesn't make a difference.
The difference is like, listen, we didn't get the grafts that we promised you. This is all we were able to do in this pass. You're already closed up. We don't want to potentially damage you, so we're going to we're going to give you a refund for the grafts that were not utilized or placed. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
What gets me about this is, I mean, there's that issue that he talked about, and to be fair, I mean, I've seen many cases where the target number of grafts wasn't reached, but it wasn't a matter.
When you're taking out a strip, you can't guarantee that you're going to get those grafts.
You can't, of course. But I've seen it done where you go back in, remove staples or sutures, and go back in. It's actually, medically speaking, it's not a big deal. But what bothers me about this is that the choice was left up to you, as if you knew any sort of potential downsides. I can only assume that they weren't explained to you. Not to mention the fact that you were medicated on Valium. That goes against every ethical issue I can think of. I mean, that's just, you never ask a patient about a medical or surgical decision if they're under the influence. That's just wrong.
I'm glad. I mean, I was even like, hey, see, doctor, see my eyebrow right here? I think I got a little scar here. Can you cover that up? Put some facial hair there, or some put some topical hair on my eyebrow. That's how high I was. It's like, I'm glad he didn't do it. It was like, are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a scar, and I thought, okay, you could just but I forgot, eyebrows don't grow the same as hair on your scalp, You don't want to be trimming your eyebrow every week.
Well, right. I mean, here's the thing. Eyebrow transplants. Eyebrow transplants can be incredible if you're willing to trim them. There are people who are very deficient in eyebrows, and it frames their face, and they're willing to do that. But I was
coherent. I was like, I'm just trying to explain like how I wasn't like myself.
Right. Like, no. I completely understand that aspect of things, and that's the sad part of all of this, because what you are describing is more common than the industry or most young consumers or new consumers to this field even not comprehend. And that's why it's so important that, listen, I wish people found us first. Sometimes they do, and what happens is they're like, oh, these guys they must be bitter, or they're talking down about the industry or whatever it is, and I want to get fixed, and these guys know how to fix me. So, and that happens a lot. Believe me, people find the American Hair Loss Association or the IAHRS or the Bald Truth, and then they end up going and having surgery because they don't want to take the time to read or do their due diligence, or they believe this can't happen to me.
Well, I want people to know that even the salesperson, he's a liar. The one, and I caught him on a lie multiple times, and I overlooked his faults because I kind of trusted the doctor, because the doctor looked like he had some integrity and was honest and really kind. But that could be just his niche, to kind of like get you to like sign up. But they were selling me. They told me I wouldn't need more than one surgery. I was never even told I only need more than one surgery. So that was never in my radar. When I was in the operating room, and while the doctor was working on me, so we can come back and do it a second time. You can have a second surgery. I was like, what? What do you mean a second surgery? I was told I needed it once. And this guy, the salesman, was so, looked disingenuous. And you know how they have those hats, those laser hats?
Yeah.
he was telling me he was selling me the hat, the laser helmet, and he was saying, you know, you could he uses it all the time, every day, five times a week. So I asked him, and he has a full set of hair. I mean, he never had surgery. I mean, his hair looked great. So if you use it every day, how often do you have to charge it? He didn't know the answer to that. So
that's amazing.
I said, yeah, he was obviously lying. First of all, he didn't need it. Second of all, he couldn't answer my question. How often do you charge it? How many times are you able to use it before it, or how long does each session last?
I promise you, and I say this all the time, if I really believed that I would have any benefit from one of these helmets, I'd be doing the fucking show with the helmet on right now.
Yeah.
I'd be taking their money, and I'd be walking around with this thing on my head day in and day out.
I'd be wearing that cap all day long that they sell. But I know Joe was talking about he was against it at one point. Now he's kind of for it, but it depends on what type of laser therapy.
Now,
my position is that
I'm open to it, and so is Joe.
There's more than enough evidence to tell me now that there is something to it. As far as like which one is better, I have no idea. I do know that if I had my choice, I'd want something that looked like a normal piece of equipment on my head instead of like I'm getting ready to go to a Comic-Con. So that's why I'm not crazy about. That's why I'm not crazy about the helmet, because I do believe that, you know, more diodes is better. The helmet doesn't have a whole lot of diodes, and they mix it in with LEDs, which I mean, it's like you're having a hard enough time getting me to believe about lasers. Now you want to throw LEDs in the mix? Get the fuck out of here. But I want it to at least look normal, so I like the ball caps. That just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so, listen, I'm sorry that you went through what you went through. Your situation is not an isolated situation. I will say this, even though it totally sucks, and you're dealing with a lot of anxiety and disappointment and money down the drain and all of that stuff, there is recourse. I mean, you could contact them again and say, look, you know, you're very unhappy. You have been told that, you know, you should be assessed by a couple of different physicians and get their assessment in writing if you can, and say, look, I've been told that this is, you know, this is not the typical standard of care, and I need a repair surgery, and I would like a refund. And
should I do that prior to having my next surgery somewhere else to get it fixed? Because if they were able to fix the problem, then it could prove that this surgeon was incompetent.
No,
if they were able to.
No. You don't want to. You know, you want to have the evidence before you go and fix the problem. That you know that you had several consultations. This is what you were told. See if doctors are willing to put it in writing. And then, you know, or just say, you know, would you mind putting your assessment in writing? We don't have to mention any names. Mm-hmm. You go back to the salesperson or go back to the company and say, look, I need to get this repaired. This is what's been told to me. I would really appreciate a refund. And then they may send you to legal. They may not. But there are,
and it may. And let me interject. It may be a good idea that when you do have these consultations with other clinics, to not mention who the clinic was that you went to for this, so that there can't be any sort of claim of bias against the doctor that gives any sort of opinion.
That's fucking great advice, by the way, Joe. That is brilliant advice.
That's why I'm reluctant to give even you guys who did it. I mean, I said already too much, but you know, there's so many Bosley doctors, so it's not like
there's so many Bosley doctors and so many Bosley patients, and no one knows who the fuck you are. This is a radio show.
Yeah.
You know, well, I mean, the thing is, you know, whenever you see those Bosley commercials, they never show you. I don't remember them ever showing the back of the hair, back of the scalp.
Well, I will tell you that Bosley has, you know, now they have a lot of good results out there as well. It really depends on the doctor and the staff that you go to. The problem is the way that they sell is that they are the most experienced hair transplant company in the world.
In the world.
Now, who's the most experienced? Which doctor is the most experienced? Which staff member is the most experienced? If you come out here to Los Angeles and have a hair transplant by one of the doctors here with their staff, there's probably a much greater chance that you're going to have a good outcome than in some other locations. That's just the way that it is. Now, their commercials are slick. They always have been. They're slicker now than ever. Their main marketing guy now is an old school direct-to-consumer marketer who I actually met with when they wanted to do some work together. And nice guy, smart guy, but honestly, in my view, really has no clue about this industry. But what he does have a clue is on how to sell shit. And he's good at it. And their newest infomercial and their 2-minute commercials are slick as hell. So they could show the back of people's heads, no problem. There are plenty of patients out there that are happy with Bosley results. However, based on their old track record and just based on volume, there are plenty of patients just like you. So you won't be identified by this program, believe me. No one's going to know. You're just another unhappy patient from this clinic.
Yeah, and I tried. We were talking about finasteride. I was having side effects from that finasteride. So I stopped it, and I noticed I was losing more hair. And so the doctor said, "Okay, well, you can take half a pill. Half a milligram." Right. And that the results you can still have results. Is there any truth to any of that?
There is.
Yeah.
That's a very true statement.
And the facility at the Hasson and Wong, they actually prescribed me topical finasteride.
Yeah, I mean that's an alternative. I mean, you will not have the same. It won't be as efficacious as taking it orally. Yeah. But there are those who do not do well with oral finasteride, who do fine side effect wise with topical and also see positive results. But the doctor at Bosley who gave you that advice, that's a truism. And you could also do, listen, I do intermittent therapy. I take 1 5-milligram dose once a week. Mm-hmm. And I have just very slowly progressed over the years. But for the most part, I mean, that's my dosage. So, I mean, yeah, there are guys out there that will take 1/4 of a 1 milligram dose every other day and avoid side effects and still see results.
Yeah. But as far as now, they're not going to be able to prescribe me any more topical finasteride because the FDA won't allow them to ship it across the border.
You can get topical finasteride.
You can get it anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah, but they have their own concoction, so to speak. So you don't want to just buy any topical finasteride because you don't know what.
That's true. That's true. But
anybody recommend that you highly recommend?
Well, look, I think I actually did a video on this on my YouTube channel under the hair transplant class. It's just like with surgery, research, what people are using and ask them if it's any good, and go to wherever they're getting it, like whatever compounding pharmacy they're ordering it from. There are several that are supposed to have some sort of formulation that's effective. I know Dr. Bauman's got what's it called, M82?
I think it's 82M.
Or 82M.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Dr. Alan Bauman. He's an IAHRS accepted member, and he's got a formulation that I believe one of the members in the chat room right now uses, and he likes it. I've heard from others that like it.
Okay, how do I get this in?
Just go to IAHRS.org and look for Dr. Alan Bauman. He's in South Florida, Boca Raton, and you can contact him through that website.
Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah. So I don't know what to do right now. I feel like I want to get the surgery done as soon as possible because I'm tired of dealing with this. But you're saying I should contact Bosley and see what they can do first?
Well, no. Here's the thing. you don't want to get anything done just because you are trying to get this over with. This is a situation that you're in now that you're going to have to just become zen with and work in a way that's going to really be in your best interest. You don't want to just do anything hastily.
The desperation that we're hearing in your voice is going to set you up for another
possible disaster.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now. Hair transplant consultants in general suck, and they will see you coming a mile away. All right. So you need to gather yourself together between your ears, get yourself straightened as far as doing your research, and don't have, I say this knowing that it's extremely difficult to do this. It's much easier to be said than done.
Of course.
But get yourself sorted with your emotions about how you're dealing with this. Understand that in the grand scheme of things, there are people that have much worse conditions that they're dealing with than you are. It's all relative, and I understand that. But what I'm saying is you need to chillax and take this, look at the long game on this. Play the long game, not the short game. Getting it fixed as soon as possible, that's a bad idea. Play the long game. Do your research. Be calm. Be zen, as Spencer said. I like that. Be zen about this, and use your head.
And my advice is, honestly, this is going to cost you more money to repair. I would do whatever I can to let the company that you believe screwed you up know that this is what has to be done, and you would like a refund. There is a good opportunity.
What if they want to do the repair through another Bosley doctor?
No, just say no. Say I can't trust you guys at this point. I have chosen another physician. I would like a refund.
Yeah.
That's it. And then there's recourse. You actually have recourse. And you have to understand that we live in a Yelp society, a online forum society, and these companies know that. So they would much rather just satisfy you. Yeah. You go in there and you act as a rational human being. Once they see that you're irrational, then they got you by the balls.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're talking about all kinds of issues that you can deal with, including having to deal with their lawyers. Act rationally. Say this is what you want to do, and you really would prefer to have a refund, at least a partial refund, depending on your situation. And I can't assess that for you. Yeah. And that you need to get repair work. That's it. Yeah. And a good way to go about that is to actually go to them with written assessments of your current situation and what it's going to cost to repair.
Yeah. And they've got all the pictures. They have all the evidence. They know exactly the results.
They don't have any evidence. That evidence can go away. They don't have shit.
They gave me copies of everything.
Well, that's great. You have their copies, but don't expect them to have anything.
Of course, they're going to want to fight.
What you want is images taken by physicians that you consult with about your situation.
Hair physicians or just any physician? I mean, any practitioner?
No. Hair transplant surgeons that you're considering having repair work done by.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And get their assessment. You do not have to, Joe's advice is great. Do not say where you went. Say you prefer not to say. Mm-hmm. And this way you will get a completely honest assessment. And the doctor, if he's, a decent guy, he could even write that, he was not told the name of the clinic or the physician. Mm-hmm. Have that in writing. So there's no bias. Yeah. You get a couple of those. This is what it's going to cost me to fix this mess that you guys gave me. I want to get it fixed. What can you do for me? And there's a very good chance that they will make you an offer.
What's really upsetting? It's so ironic. I feel so stupid right now. I just signed up with Hasson and Wong to do a surgery in the near future. I mean, I can put it on hold if that's what I need to do. And I've been waiting for 2 years, so I have been patient. Right now, I'm upset because I'm rehashing what the experience. It's really upsetting me, but I I'm being level-headed right now. I think I'm going to a decent doctor. They looked at my pictures, and they gave me an estimate what they can possibly do, but they won't know until actually they actually get in the surgery and start cutting and see what was done, and what kind of,
Why don't you get on a plane? And
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, fly up there and say, listen, you just want to get this. You want to get this assessment in writing. You want to be able to see if you can get some of the surgery paid for by the prior clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It'll be worth the plane ticket. Plus, you're also going to be getting an in-person consultation, which you can't beat.
Yeah.
Let me add to that. You've got a wide donor scar, and I know exactly what any experienced surgeon would normally want to know is, what is the donor laxity like? Like, how much movement is there remaining in your donor scalp? Because that is the number one factor that will determine the success of your procedure. Nothing else matters.
To interrupt, sorry, I was on a Skype call. And I did the exercise in front of him, like I showed him my elasticity. And I've been doing it for now, since we talked, I've been doing it for 7 months. So there's a lot more give now.
Okay.
So
my advice to you, and this is and I appreciate you telling me that, and I understand. That's good to know. But just talking to you now, I can tell you it is in your best interest for them and for you to spend $600, fly up. It's like $600 round trip from Phoenix. Fly up. You don't even have to spend overnight, because it's like a 4-hour flight.
Yeah.
Fly up in the morning, hop on the train from the airport, go downtown, have your consultation in the afternoon, go back to the airport, and fly home the same day.
Okay.
That is the number one thing that you should do, because that's the only way to make sure that you get the best consultation possible. This is for you, not for them. This is for your peace of mind, so that you know that they've got all the information that they need to make the best decision possible for you.
Okay. Because I did put my deposit today.
Deposits mean nothing. Deposits mean nothing. Even if you lost your deposit, it's the best money you ever lost if you decide not to go for whatever reason. Okay. But the deposits are relevant. You still have every right to hop on a plane and go see them to get an in-person evaluation. I think there's no other way in your case.
But you can't get your money back on the deposit, I think.
My point is, here's the thing. Okay, just going along that line of thinking. If the money is what you're concerned about, and you fly up there and they say, you know what, your laxity isn't good enough, they're going to give you your money back. Deposits are only required so that you don't bail at the last minute. So, if you decide not to have the procedure like a week before you're scheduled, then they might keep it. Yeah. But if it's a month, then no, they're not going to keep it. They'll give it back to you.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks is what they say. So
yeah.
Okay.
But still,
all right, man. Well,
even if you show up on the day of surgery and they say we can't do this, they're going to give you all your money back.
Yeah.
Especially for some complications or something, out of my hands. But
listen, I'm so sorry that you've been through what you've been through, but I promise you that there's a good chance that, and it seems like you've picked the right guys, that you are going to be in a better situation once you're able to get it repaired. But the thing is, when I say be zen about things, just be smart. You've already spent a lot of money. If you can get some of that money back and then use that for your repair, then why the fuck not?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man?
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
You let us know how you keep us abreast of your situation. Let us know how you do.
When do you do these live sessions anyways? It was just by accident. Well, it was no accident. I just happened to get online and see you guys.
Well, we normally do them Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and now Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, which is 5 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m. Eastern, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good to know.
All right, man.
So I'll follow up with you guys soon.
Absolutely. Good luck.
Thanks
for calling.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
888-659-3727. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Alex from San Diego.
Alex from San Diego, welcome.
How you doing?
Okay, man.
Can't complain.
I just had a quick question. I've been on generic finasteride for about 12 years now, and I've just been using the, just cutting it in fours, the 5 milligram cutting it in fours.
All right.
And everything's going good. I had like really good results, and my whole thing was just to maintain. So everything worked out perfectly, and now it's been about 6 months. It's been like I'm kind of losing ground or something, and I don't know what the next option would be.
Did you switch? Did you have a new supply of generic finasteride in the previous 6 months before you started noticing this?
No.
Did your pharmacy change the supplier?
No, everything is the same blue pill.
Okay.
Everything is, I haven't done anything different. The only thing is it's just kind of been losing, just kind of thinning a little bit in the front. I was just kind of thinking if it's like, okay, this is it, the course of nature. Maybe that's just where it's going to go.
Which area of your scalp are you experiencing the thinning? Is it the crown?
Crown and mid top a bit. Okay. And it's sort of like in the early stages of it. So I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm just trying to maintain, and it wasn't there before. And the reason, so it's just becoming slight visible now. And I'm just kind of thinking, do I bump it up? Or it's like my question to you guys is like, should I bump it up, or would it, to like cut it in threes instead? Would that work?
I think that, I think you got one of three things going on. Either because it's generic, it wasn't working as effectively as name brand at all, or the manufacturer of the generic just wasn't, it just doesn't have the protocols to maintain consistency of the product from one batch to the next, or it was working, just wasn't working good enough, and you've been progressing the whole time, but it just got to the point where you finally notice it. In my opinion, and Spencer may have a different one, but who knows? But my opinion, I think that the only thing that you can do to make sure that you're getting the real deal is to switch to name brand Proscar, not Propecia, because Proscar is the 5 milligram. You can still quarter it into 4 pieces and take that for 6 months to see if that is the issue. Because I hear this all the time. And I have for many years. My Proscar is not working, or my Propecia is not working. Really? Yeah. Well, which is it, Propecia or Proscar? Well, it's generic. Oh, okay. Well, maybe switch to name brand, either or. Yeah. And 6 months later, they contact me and say, I'm better. Done. So that's the first thing to consider. If it's still not making a difference, then okay, first off, you've gotten to the baseline standard of the original finasteride by the original manufacturer. So you only have, you can only go up from there. So then you can consider upping your dosage. I'm not a doctor. This is not actual medical advice. It's just my opinion based on my experience. Up your dosage from maybe quarter to a third.
My question to you is: are you noticing an effluvium? Are you noticing more shedding in the shower when you comb your hair, things like that?
No shedding. I did have one like 6 months ago where it was just kind of, I just kind of saw a little minor transition come in, and like the shafts just became a little more flat. I have a lot of hair.
Right.
So, and it was just like, oh, okay, so this is interesting. And then it just started becoming a little visible, and I'm just like, this is the next stage then, and I'm just I want to just kind of maintain it and just see where, basically just kind of maintain where I was before.
Well, here's the thing for me. If you are not going through an active shed right now, switching to name brand, especially if you believe you've been on the same generic for a very long time, it could possibly throw you into an effluvium. But Joe is correct in stating that, and again, we're not doctors, stating that the company that's currently providing the generic could have changed its formulation, could have changed its fillers, could have changed something to where it's not necessarily your body not reacting well to the drug anymore, but the drug is not exactly the same, even though the molecular makeup of the drug itself is the same. The molecular makeup of the entire pill that you're taking could be different.
Yeah.
So that could be a problem. That could be an issue. If you're not actively shedding, for me, it's always difficult to tell someone to make the switch. Usually when someone's actively shedding, that's easy. It's okay. You're already fucked up. Give it a shot and, and see what happens. But, I am always a fan of using brand name to begin with throughout, my entire life. And I'm certainly a brand hoarder because at least we know that this company is doing it exactly the same as they did it. And that's how they were FDA approved. Generics can make different, changes in their formulation. With all of that said, Joe's idea is not a bad idea. But you have to just be willing to know that if you make the shift, it's possible you can go through a shed. Or it's also possible that you could start to see some either regrowth or just, just maintenance. But at least you're getting the real deal, for sure.
Okay.
You have to assess that. Like if you're not actively shedding, if you don't see an active recession, you may want to wait it out for another 6 months and see what happens.
Yeah. I just thought it was like its max peak. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, 12 years, that's it. The genes are pulling in, it's done.
Well, it's possible that that's part of it, for sure. I mean, and it's also possible that raising your dosage, you have to talk to your doctor about this, increasing your dosage can benefit you. But like Joe said, it's always best, in our view, to go on to use name brand, and then if you're going to increase your dosage, increase with name brand. But it's a tricky thing. And again, we're not doctors. I mean, I hate to tell people to make any moves if they're not actively going through a process.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's it. So, just kind of wondering if that extra, if the next year, or if I try the brand name and then I just maintain, or just wondering does it going upping the dose matter? Does it actually, is there difference? Are there effects? Or
clinically, and physicians will say this, that they'll say that it doesn't matter. But anecdotally, at least in our experience, and I've been doing this for well over 20 years, I've known guys who've upped their dosage, they believed that the drug was no longer working for them or stopped working, and then they upped their dosage and they're doing great again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn.
So, I mean, I believe it's dose dependent, but that's my belief as a layman. And, this is
mine as well.
It's not medical advice, but based on the tremendous wealth of experience both Joe and I have in this field, speaking to thousands of, if not, I have no idea how many people I've spoken to in the last 20 years. That seems to be the case.
That's awesome. And what are your thoughts on Avodart? That's just out of the question, huh?
No, I don't. It's not out of the question. It's just I think that it's a last resort.
Yeah.
So if after switching to name brand, after upping your dosage, if all that doesn't work, then you always have Avodart, and you could talk to your doctor about that.
Yeah. No, definitely.
All right, man. Listen, we're going to take another call and probably wrap it up in a few minutes. But I wish you the best of luck. It's not over till it's over, and it's very possible that you can maintain what you have for a long period of time.
Hey, I just want to say thank you guys for everything.
Oh,
no worries.
You got it, man. That's what we're here for.
Glad to help.
Take care.
That's awesome.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Jeez, I'm tired. 888-659-3727. Let's take this call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Miguel, San Diego.
Miguel, welcome.
Another San Diego, second in a row.
Yeah.
How you doing, Miguel?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
I just wanted to share my experience, very anecdotal. I got my first procedure when I was 31, local doctor. I think she's retired, so I'm not even endorsing on anybody or anything. But I got 2 procedures 1 year apart. My results were great. She diagnosed, she prescribed finasteride, and I took it from age 32 to about age 38.
Was the last name Khan?
It's a lady doctor, Frost. I don't know. It used to be called something like Laser International something.
It amazes me, and I'm glad you had a good result, but it amazes me that people don't know the names of their doctors. And you're not the only one. That happens all the time.
Khan, maybe? She's gone. She's old. She was old back
Khan.
then.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got it because I went with her because my coworker had a hairstyle not like Joe, the other guy. I forgot your name. Sorry. Spencer.
Yeah.
This guy at work had your same hairstyle, and one day he went short, and I saw a big scar in the back, and I was like, "Oh wow, you got a procedure." It was unnoticeable. So, anyways, he gave me her number. I went. I got 2 procedures. She prescribed finasteride, and I took it for about 6 years. The results of finasteride are amazing. Like, I cannot repeat it enough. It's supposed to be for the crown, but the quality of the hair, just everywhere. It's just the shaft, the color, the texture of the hair is great. But
I noticed my donor area improved.
Oh, yeah, even that. So the reason why I stopped is because I was single at the time, and then I got married, and I started hearing about all these side effects, and I was like, do I have side effects? So I didn't want to, then I read somewhere in the prescription and the thing on the back of the directions, it said something about for men between the ages of up to 45 or something. So I was like, maybe it's a good time to stop. I'm approaching 40, so I stopped. And guess what? I did have side effects. They were not unnoticeable, but they were gradual to when I was 38, I was like, oh, maybe this is it. This is what a 38-year-old man performs like sexually. Mm-hmm. So when I stopped, guess what? I remember what I was like in my very early 30s. So I stopped taking it. I haven't taken it since I'm 45 now, 7 years. The hair, gradually, I've lost a lot of the hair, and I started taking Rogaine just to hold on to as much as I could. Now noticed
now let me ask you, how much of a difference sexually?
How about this? When sexually, I would say day and night. Day and night. Let me tell you why. Because when I was in my early 30s, I did not have a steady relationship. I did not have a wife that I could have sex at any night. So every time I had like a new girl or whatever, it felt great.
Right.
But then I asked an ex-girlfriend, like, do you remember when we used to date? Yeah. She goes, yeah, I noticed sometimes that you were not the same. So I was like, I would think that, oh, maybe because I was tired, maybe because I was drunk, or maybe because I was not as attracted. But then I noticed as soon as I stopped taking it within months, oh, this is what it used to feel like. Always certain expectations, certain performance, unbearable, and almost unrelated to any mental stage or, right. any physical strain or anything. It was just great. So now that I'm 45, it only leads me to believe that if at 45 I'm performing like I was in my early 30s, that means that it obviously totally related to the drug. Now, did it ruin my life? No.
Yeah.
It was great. Would I do it again? Knowing the limited side effects, yes, I would do it again. Would I start taking it right now? No. I wouldn't start taking it right now because I like the way I perform now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So now it doesn't mean as much as it used to in my hair, and I lost a lot of it. Let's say I was a 3 when I got my procedure. I was like a 3 with the thinning in the crown, and now that thinning is back. And then I have a little mop right in the center of that crown. I have a little mop I'm thinking it's the Rogaine kicking in, but it's not keeping up with what I had. But it doesn't matter. Now my question to you guys was, in your experience, I'm thinking, am I done with the big impact of hair loss at age 45, or or am I gonna like I don't know how to say this. Is it gonna be like a fast process like it was when I was younger? Because I noticed my hair loss started like I never had a lot of hair, but I noticed about 25. I started getting like a receding hairline, then the little crown, and then at age 31, like everybody.
Your loss can kick in and become aggressive tomorrow, or 5 years from now, or not at all, and just continue to be gradual.
Yeah, because I thought because of the older I get, the testosterone levels are starting to level up. I would think that maybe this is it. I went through the worst phase of hair loss, maybe, because I was thinking about a third procedure just to maybe thicken up a little bit of the crown. And I'm not a big fan of hair replacement in the crown because it's hard for me to see, like when I go to the mall and they're so noticeable because of the density, but. I wonder if it's an option for somebody my age.
Well, I think that the first thing you need to understand is that, there are a lot of guys that have had moderate loss up until 45, 50 years old, and then the loss accelerates or continues and gets more aggressive. Many it doesn't. I mean, many men, their loss will stabilize or appear to stabilize and just creep along for the next 30 years until they're in the ground. But it's just unpredictable. I mean, no one would legitimately be able to say one way or the other what's going to happen to you without finasteride. With Rogaine or with minoxidil, if you're still using that, then that can slow the process. But yeah, I mean, is it safe to get a hair transplant? A third one? Is it ever safe? I mean, you're always taking a gamble for several different reasons. I think that at your position now where you're just kind of thinking about it, I'd encourage you not to, because it could potentially be more hassle than it's worth at this point.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm older. It doesn't mean as much as it used to. But obviously, everybody wants to hold on to as much as they can,
Of course, yeah, and I get that. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just if you can accept the way things are now, then do so. Save your money.
Look, your dick is hard. You're married, and you're not as upset about your hair loss. You win.
Well, thanks, guys.
That's it. You win. You're in a good position. So I would say that you made the right decision for you.
Yeah.
As far as getting off finasteride. And
a year later.
I wouldn't, listen, surgery's always going to be there. So
right.
you could, in 5 years, you could be like, shit, maybe I need something else done. And in 5 years, maybe we're going to have something better. That's
or not be around.
Say that again? Well, yeah, you could be dead.
Right.
Exactly. That's $10,000 you could have left to your family instead.
That's right.
Right. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Listen, thanks for the call. Take care.
Thanks for calling, Miguel.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, this is going to be the last call for the night. All right?
I'm down with that.
All right. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. What's going on? It's Nico from New York.
Hey, what's happening,
Nico.
man?
Hey, Joe. Thanks for all your time. And just
this Nico.
Let you guys...
okay.
What's that?
I said, this Nico. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I wanted to work something out with you guys, so I know you guys didn't get to do it today for the show for Rate My Transplant.
Yeah.
It's more of like a secondary comment, just based on hearing today's show and hearing a lot of distress from different people, and the guy called in about his Bosley experience. Just thinking about, just all about reaching out and support and talking to people, and with all the stuff that you'd heard, that's gone on with what happened with Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade and all that shit. It's all about just getting yourself whole and feeling better first before making decisions. And I just wanted to try to end, on the show on a positive, and trying to make people feel better about themselves while they're going through distressing times. Because just reaching out and the opportunity to talk to Joe was really nice. And while I feel like I still have some stuff that I have my concerns about, making decisions for the future for other surgeries, that shit just suddenly becomes secondary as far as just really trying to get feeling whole, because all this stuff, it's so anxiety producing, and it was, you know, I don't know, just wanted to share that, and
that's actually...
didn't want to make it about me, you know what I mean? Just for everyone who's calling, and you hear so much anxiety, and I just wanted to share that for whatever reason, and not make it about.
And I appreciate you sharing that, because that's a really important point. And we always talk about life after hair loss. And, you know, one of the reasons why I decided to do this and make this my career is because of the pain and the anxiety, the anguish that I went through, especially as a younger man, and having no one to be able to relate to or speak with about this. And knowing, after doing all of my research, how dangerous the industry was and how vulnerable and how easily taken advantage of, especially young men are in this field. You know, you mentioned Anthony Bourdain, and you mentioned, you know, what's her name, Kate Spade. And you know, one thing I try to tell people is, no matter what we're going through in life, we have to find a way to become, and I always say the Zen with ourselves and who we are, and as comfortable in our own skin as we can be. That also means being alone and being comfortable being alone, not always looking for outside sources or outside stimuli to make us happy. And you know, we're living within yourself, because if you can't find that in yourself, you're not going to be able to have good, you know, relationships. If you think getting your hair back is going to make you a happier person, it can. It could certainly make you a happier person. But if you're fucked up for other reasons, that's just, you're going to be maybe less fucked up, but you're still going to be a fucked up person with better hair.
Right.
And that's what it boils down to. I know a lot of guys who've had great hair transplants. I'm not talking about you, Joe, who are really fucked up guys, who are just, you know, they thought they thought that was their problem, but that wasn't their problem. That was part of their problem. That was making their problems worse. But, you know, that's not why they're fucking alcoholics or drug addicts, or that's not why they're abusing people in their lives. I mean, that's not why they're abusing themselves in some way. I think your point and ending the show on this note is really important. And I appreciate you calling to say that, because these young guys and a lot of older guys, I mean, they think that this is the end of their lives, and it's not. We have options. We have more options than we've ever had. But you got to fix yourself. Yeah,
absolutely. And don't go into a situation and make things more complicated than they might already be for yourself. It's all about getting yourself as whole as you can be, and then make, you know, some wise decisions about, moving forward about what you want to do. And, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the game of what to do next and how did my transplant go and the whole fucking thing. And it's tough stuff. But just hearing, you know, just the dude earlier who called about, you know, from Bosley and his experience, I'm like, wow, man, I guess I'm doing okay, you know, with how things went with my transplant, even if they didn't, you know, meet my expectations necessarily. But guess what? After talking to Joe, it was like, wow, just getting some perspective. It was like, wow, that really just helped the fucking cause, just to ease me up a bit. And I don't know, just felt like sharing that. So,
well, thank you for that, man. I'm glad Joe and the program, and you know, I'm just glad you're able to be. Some of your fears were allayed, and some of your anxieties were allayed as well, because what you're saying makes so much sense, man. I mean, it could always be worse.
Exactly. I mean, I looked in the mirror the other day, and I was like, shit, I'm noticing some more thinning in the crown, but you know what? I was like, just relax. Try to enjoy some shit. Try to, you know, hear other people and what they're going through and talk to people. It's all about just reaching out. So
look, this whole life is, we are fighting the inevitable decay of our lives and our bodies every fucking minute and worrying about it. If you can find a few minutes just to enjoy the moment,
take it.
Just take it. Yep. You know, stop fighting with your fucking wife. Stop fighting with the world. It's online
about getting
world.
your wife to stop fighting with you.
That's
true.
Get
that straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I mean, just, you know, the shit that we did, Joe and I deal with, the online world, the insanity, from the people online who are consumers or listeners or watchers to the physicians to the other people in the industry. It's insane. I wish people could just fucking stop and say, you know what? None of this is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yep. It's easy to get caught up in the anxiety of it all, and just about reaching out and listening and hearing you guys and other people's experiences, and you know, I want to let you guys go because you've had a nice long show, and I wasn't going to call. I was just going to try to work things out with setting up my transplant for maybe the next show if possible. But I thought ultimately at the end of hearing everything, I was like, that's all secondary. It's like, just talk, you know, let's all talk it out and try to feel better about everything. So well, I'd share that.
Well, there you go.
It's a great ending to a great long show. And I thank you so much for the call. And you know what? When you get your shit together with the Rate Your Hair Transplant stuff, we'll rate it.
Right on, man. Absolutely.
All right, man.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a great weekend.
All right.
Okay?
You too.
Thanks for calling.
Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So that's it, man. That was a busy, long, exhausting program. Not exhausting like mentally exhausting. I'm just tired. I had a long day.
It was exhausting.
You know,
my brain is mush right now.
All right. So
no, it's good.
Websites, hairtransplantmentor.com. That's Joe's personal website. Thebaldtruth.com. For archives of this broadcast. You can also see the archives of this broadcast on Joe's YouTube channel, which most of you guys are watching right now, and that is Hair Transplant Mentor /YouTube, some shit like that.
YouTube /Hair Transplant Mentor.
Yeah, and yeah, and eventually I will, but I'm getting a little old, and I have brain fog from Propecia apparently. So just kidding, everybody.
And you didn't even know it.
Yeah, didn't even know it. The American Hair Loss Association, that's AmericanHairLoss.org. If you're considering surgery, check out the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. Listen, we put it together because I believe it is a safe place to start to do your research. That's all it is. All of the doctors on there qualified to apply to the organization, and they've met certain standards. And frankly, there isn't a doctor on there that doesn't have at least one patient who is unhappy. That is the way of the world and the way cosmetic surgery works. So do your due diligence. Also, are we on Hair Loss Experiences right now?
We are on Hair Loss Experiences, and just like every broadcast, I'd like to throw out a big thank you to Hair Loss Experiences forum based in the UK, primarily UK focused, but being the web, everyone has access to it. There's lots of great information that can apply to a lot of people that visit it. The administrator of Hair Loss Experiences is a hair loss sufferer like all of us. He's had his own hair transplant experiences, some good, some bad. So he knows his shit. He understands. He helps a lot of guys behind the scenes as well. And just good people over there. And we certainly appreciate them allowing us to stream live on their platform.
Good people and normal people.
Normal people, yes.
And that's very difficult to find in this fucking field.
You guys would be shocked at how difficult it is to find normal people.
And also Guys from Queens. Check out the Guys from Queens network, guysfromqueens.com. They have some really great programming, like What the Tech, Matt Men, and some other great shows. They are the official syndicator of The Bald Truth. I want to thank everyone who is listening to the program, because I am also streaming through iTunes Radio, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, and all the other streaming sites for audio. You can download the podcast on iTunes. Just look up The Bald Truth on iTunes. Check out the podcast as well. So if you want to listen to this broadcast in your car, on your iPhones, I was going to say iPods, iPhones, or MP3 players. Do they still have MP3 players?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's like 3 left at Best Buy in the back room.
Yeah. You can download The Bald Truth. We'll be starting to upload these broadcasts more frequently. You can blame me for that. I'm just so busy. 2 live programs a week, plus all the other stuff that we're doing online, Facebook, this, that, the other thing, all the stuff behind the scenes. I have neglected to upload some of the broadcasts, but that's going to end. We're going to start doing that on a regular basis. Until
don't forget clips of this show, or not this show yet, but other shows are also available on our sister YouTube channel, Hair Transplant Podcast.
Oh yeah, guys, go there and subscribe to that right now. Do us a favor, because if you do that, then Joe will start to put up the clips.
That would help. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're strong, compelling clips. Important information for anyone trying to make a decision. I promise you, that poor guy who called from Bosley, if he saw a couple of those clips on that channel, probably would have reconsidered surgery.
Yeah, well said.
So until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.
Who put this thing together? Me! That's who! Who do I trust? Me!
I always